Rick Wolfe has been a household name in the world of Florida amateur golf for the past 30 years, and in 2020, he was one of 3 recipients inducted into the FSGA Hall of Fame. In more than 3 decades competing with the FSGA, Rick has amassed 15 state championship victories and is a 12-time FSGA Player of the Year. Born in New York, Rick and his family moved down to Fort Lauderdale when he was 7 years old. It wouldn't be long after that Rick would pick up the game of golf. An avid baseball player growing up, Rick started to play golf at 13 years old when his father got a new set of clubs and gave his old ones to his son.
I was a dyed-in-the-wool baseball player, and my dad, when he was getting a new set of clubs, offered me his old clubs, and I decided to go ahead and try the game. And as it turns out, in our neighborhood, we had about 7 or 8 guys that were interested in doing it as well. So everybody got their clubs up and we started playing at a par 3 course that was a few miles from our house. What was it? Cy Foster's par 3. And that was it.
When it came time for college, Rick left the Sunshine State and headed north for Michigan State University.
Well, definitely one thing I took from going to Michigan State was that I knew the type of climate that I did not want to live in. It was a very, very interesting 5 years. I got used to the weather to some extent. I met a lot of great people.
Rick put together a standout career in East Lansing. He earned All-American honors, led the Spartans to the NCAA championships for 4 straight years, and helped Michigan State win its first Big Ten championship.
But throughout the few years that I played, we had a very competitive team. I was the co-captain my last year, and we had a real good season. We did not win the NCAA or the Big Ten again, but we finished, I think it was either 3rd or 4th our last year, and it was a good group of fellas that I played with, and our coach was absolutely phenomenal.
With hopes of turning professional, Rick spent the summer after graduating from Michigan State playing in every amateur event he could get into. And while he played well that summer, he hadn't won anything, and he realized professional golf may not be for him.
I grabbed one of my fraternity brothers, and we took off for about 2 months. I played in just about any amateur tournament that would take me, and I played in a lot of good events, playing against people like Ben Crenshaw, Tom Kite, Tom Watson, Lanny Watkins, all of that age group, a little bit younger than me, Bob Lewis. And once we finished that tour, primarily through the South, I played pretty well. I led after the first day in a couple of events, but I didn't win anything. And I decided that this was not going to be my calling.
Instead, Rick chose to go to law school. He moved down to Virginia to attend law school at Washington and Lee University. Golf was moved to the back burner for the next 10 years as Rick finished law school and moved back to Florida to start his career. In 1981, Rick heard talk of a new championship with the United States Golf Association, the U.S. Mid-Amateur Championship. This was all it took to get Rick back into competitive golf, qualifying for the first time in 1983.
I saw this article about the USGA Mid-Amateur Championship had just finished its first event ever, and a fella who I later became very good friends with, Jim Holtgreave, was the winner of the inaugural Mid-Am in 1981, which happened to be played at a golf course that he later became a member. And I started thinking, well, if they've got an event for people 25 and over, maybe this is something that I should take a look at.
After playing in a few events while younger, Rick found his way back to the Florida State Golf Association in the early 1980s. As he began to start playing competitively again, he got more involved with the FSGA, playing in every event he could. He joined the FSGA board in the mid-80s, going on to serve as the association's president from 2000 to 2001.
I got involved with FSGA. It was a great experience. And Cal, when I joined the board, Cal was the executive director. And as I may have mentioned to you earlier, Frank Strafasi and I were on the board at the same time for most of the same years. I believe that he was president before I was, but during that term, he and I were on the committee that ultimately decided that Jim Demick might be okay as an executive director, so we hired him and got lucky. But yeah, it was great fun.
Over the next 37 years, Rick put together a remarkable amateur golf career. He became a 3-time FSGA Amateur Player of the Year, a 9-time Senior Player of the Year, and has won 15 FSGA championships. In 2007, Rick captured the Senior Amateur Match Play, Mid-Senior, and Mid-Amateur 4-Ball championships. He became the oldest winner of the Mid-Amateur Championship in 2012 at 62 years old.
I think the ones that perhaps I still relish to a degree is certainly when I was 62, I won the state Mid-Am, which the original Mid-Am was a match play tournament. That still is close to the top for me. And then winning the senior was another great thrill. And then the last thing that I thought was something that I still feel very good about was the year, which I believe was 6 years after I had won up in Bureau. I ended up as the stroke play leader and shot my age in the second round. So I still view that as being a pretty strong accomplishment.
Along with his success with the FSGA, Rick has competed in 25 USGA championships and 12 British Senior Amateur Championships.
I've been fortunate over the years to be able to also get outside the state of Florida and be able to compete with the USGA, and been very lucky to have over the years now qualified for 25 USGA events. And then also too, when I decided that I could take some more time away after I turned 55, our sights, when I say our, I'm talking about my wife as well, our sights were to get me qualifying for the British Senior Amateur. And fortunately, from 15 years ago to the present, I've been able to play in 12 of those, and my caddy has gone over with me, and she's done a great job.
Rick has also been a staple in team events over the past 30 years, competing in many Southeastern Challenges and Florida Cups.
Yeah, Florida Cup matches, they're too much, I tell you. Yeah, it started off a little slowly. We had trouble drawing the lines as to what was going to be north and south. And there was a lot of gerrymandering going on. I can remember that quite well. But it's worked out good. I think the divisions are fine, and it's certainly started a number of rivalries. Of course, now as I've gotten to the age that I'm at, if I get to play on the team, the likelihood is, unfortunately, that I probably haven't met many of the younger amateurs or a bunch of the mid-amateurs, but that's fine. I am going to continue to compete as long as I feel comfortable being able to be competitive. So I'm looking forward to playing next year after beat again this year.
When asked about his most memorable moment from a long career in golf, the answer came easily. It came in December of 1992 at the Dixie Amateur when Rick defeated a 16-year-old Tiger Woods. Tiger just won his second straight U.S. Junior Amateur, and everyone knew he was going to be something special. But that day at Bonaventure Country Club, it was Rick that came out on top.
I had the opportunity to play Tiger Woods in the semifinals, and it's the only reason I know Tiger's birthday is because of the fact that we played on Christmas Day, and he was going to be turning 17 in 6 days. And his dad, of course, was with him, and we had a good match for a while, but eventually I was very fortunate and ended up beating Tiger 4-3.
Rick has been involved with the game of golf for almost 60 years, and after all that time, there's one thing that stands out the most: the people he has met along the way.
But yeah, it's been great fun. I've had some success, but the greatest thing about the FSGA, and I've had a lot of other things that have been great in the game of golf outside the state of Florida, but most of my really good memories are involved with playing in tournaments run by the FSGA, and just all of the great people from the 70s to now. And it's just been really a very interesting trip. And I hope I have as many friends as I think I have among all the people that I've played with and run into through the FSGA over the past more years than I want to think of.
One of those people that Rick is speaking of is a fellow 2020 Hall of Fame inductee, Doug Lacrosse.
Doug and I have competed against each other, have played with each other as partners, and have had a good degree of success. And that's why I'm so excited about this, because the only thing that could have made this better is exactly what has happened. And that is, I thought about the possibility of, is there a chance for me ever to be adorned with this particular title? And the only thing that could have made it better is exactly what has happened. And that is, one of my very good friends has also been given that honor, well-deserved. And it's been just, I think anyway, the best thing that ever could have happened, the most important tribute that I could have ever had was to be sworn into the Florida State Hall of Fame.
Rick joins an incredible group of individuals in the Florida State Golf Association Hall of Fame. The FSGA would like to congratulate him on a remarkable career and thank him for all he has done for the game of golf in Florida.
Well, the top of my list when it comes to who I should be thanking is my wife, Susan. We got married in 1979, and she has been as supportive as I never would have expected, and it has made it easier for me, and she has been behind me the whole time, and there isn't any question that I would not have been able to do what I've done, and over the period of time in particular for what I've been doing it, without her backing, her support, her encouragement, her love. So there isn't any question there. I've had great people over the years that have been very supportive. My golf coach in high school was an interesting character, Carl Ferrara. He was also a football coach, but he felt like he knew who had talent and who didn't, and he supported me throughout. Bruce Fossum, who was my coach at Michigan State, was phenomenal. His family was a true golf family. His wife started the Michigan State women's golf team shortly after I graduated, actually, from Michigan State. They didn't have a team until sometime after that. She became the head coach, ran it for a number of years, and turned out a great product. So the Fossum family was an interesting group that was very supportive of the whole golf program, and Bruce was a real father-like coach who I learned a lot from. And I think those are the main people that I would say. I know my dad encouraged me to play. If I hadn't played, that would have been okay with him. And fortunately, he got to see me play in some tournaments. And he was certainly encouraging. But once I got to college, although I certainly talked with him as much as I could, I did not see him nearly as much as I saw my coaches and so forth. But those are the people that I think, had I not had that type of support and encouragement, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about it right now. Well, I can't say that I didn't think about it. I can't tell you when I first started thinking about it as a possibility. I don't think that I can view myself very objectively. But I will say that with or without a dinner, or with or without having people around and so forth, that really isn't and wasn't necessary. This is the highlight in my golf career.